Welcome to our journey into the fascinating world of atoms. Today, we are diving into the structure of an atom for CBSE Class 9 Chemistry. Our specific focus will be on J.J. Thomson's plum pudding model from 1898 and, more importantly, its limitations. We'll explore this topic across 4 levels: easy, medium, hard, and hardest, ensuring you grasp every detail and challenge your understanding. Let's begin. Ready for the basics? Let's unravel the simple reasons why Thomson's model didn't quite make the cut. J.J. Thomson proposed his model in 1898, picturing the atom as a sphere of uniform positive charge, much like a pudding. The negatively charged electrons were embedded within this positive sphere, just like plums in a pudding. He believed the positive and negative charges balanced each other, making the atom electrically neutral. This was a groundbreaking idea because it was the first to suggest that atoms weren't indivisible, but contained smaller particles, specifically electrons. However, as scientists conducted more experiments, especially with particles interacting with atoms, Thomson's model faced challenges. The biggest problem was that it couldn't explain the results of these new experiments. For instance, it couldn't describe how the positive charge was truly distributed within the atom, nor could it account for the behavior of particles when they hit atoms. These inconsistencies meant a new, more accurate model was needed. Now, let's test your understanding with a few easy questions. Take a moment to think about what we've just discussed. What was the core idea of Thomson's model? Why did scientists need to look beyond it? And what was one key problem with his plum pudding analogy when new evidence emerged? Stepping up a notch. Let's delve deeper into the specific experiments that exposed the cracks in Thomson's atomic structure. Thomson's model, though flawed, was a significant step forward. It correctly identified electrons as constituents of atoms and proposed the atom's overall electrical neutrality. He envisioned a solid, uniformly positive sphere with tiny, negative electrons scattered within it. This model was a crucial bridge from the idea of indivisible atoms to a more complex, subatomic understanding. His discovery of the electron itself was a monumental achievement that set the stage for this model. The real challenge to Thomson's model came with Ernest Rutherford's alpha particle scattering experiment in 1911. Thomson's model predicted that positively charged alpha particles would pass straight through the atom with minimal deflection, as the positive charge was thought to be spread out. It would be like shooting a bullet through a soft, evenly distributed target. But what Rutherford observed was drastically different, leading to a major reevaluation. Rutherford observed that while most alpha particles indeed passed straight through the gold foil, some were deflected at large angles, and surprisingly, a very small number even bounced back. This was completely unexpected and couldn't be explained by Thomson's model. Thomson's uniform positive sphere simply didn't have the concentrated positive charge needed to repel alpha particles so strongly, especially to make them bounce back. This experiment was pivotal in showing the limitations. It's time for some medium-level questions. Consider how Rutherford's experiment directly contradicted Thomson's predictions. What specific observation was most surprising? And how did the idea of a uniformly spread positive charge fail to explain these new findings? Think critically about the implications of the alpha particle scattering results. Now, for the serious thinkers. Let's analyze the profound reasons why Thomson's model couldn't stand the test of advanced scientific inquiry. Thomson's model, while revolutionary for its time, fundamentally failed in explaining the observed scattering pattern of alpha particles. His model predicted that alpha particles, being positive, would experience only slight deflections as they passed through a diffuse, uniformly positive pudding of the atom. The positive charge would be too spread out to exert a strong, localized repulsive force. However, Rutherford's experiment showed that a very small fraction of alpha particles were deflected at angles greater than 90 degrees, and some even bounced back almost entirely. This implied a tiny, dense, positively charged region, which Thomson's model completely lacked. The core discrepancy lay in the distribution of mass and charge. Thomson's model assumed both mass and positive charge were uniformly distributed. Rutherford's observations, particularly the large-angle scattering, unequivocally pointed to a highly concentrated positive charge and mass at the atom's center, what he termed the nucleus. This nucleus had to be extremely small and dense to cause such strong deflections. The plum pudding model's diffuse structure simply could not account for this localized, powerful repulsion. Beyond scattering, Thomson's model faced theoretical weaknesses. According to classical physics, if electrons were embedded and stationary, they wouldn't explain chemical reactions. If they were oscillating, they should continuously radiate energy and spiral into the positive sphere, making the atom unstable. This contradicts the observed stability of atoms. Furthermore, the model couldn't explain the discrete line spectra emitted by excited atoms, which suggested specific, quantized energy levels, a concept alien to classical physics and Thomson's model. Time for the hard-level challenge. Reflect on the detailed experimental evidence and theoretical inconsistencies. How did the plum pudding fail to predict Rutherford's observations? What specific aspects of atomic stability and spectra were unaddressed? And how did these failures become crucial stepping stones for the evolution of atomic theory? Put your analytical skills to the test. Ready for the ultimate challenge? Let's dissect the profound implications of Thomson's model's limitations, connecting them to advanced physics and the very foundation of modern science. Thomson's model emerged from a critical juncture in physics, following the discovery of the electron, which shattered the indivisible atom concept. It was a classical attempt to construct an atomic model, but it inherently suffered from the limitations of classical electromagnetism when applied to subatomic scales. It provided a conceptual framework for a neutral atom with internal structure, a significant leap, but lacked the predictive power for phenomena beyond simple charge balance. This pre-quantum context is crucial to understanding its initial acceptance and subsequent downfall. Quantitatively, Thomson's model predicted that alpha particles would experience multiple small deflections, summing up to a maximum deviation of only a few degrees due to the diffuse positive charge. Rutherford's calculations, based on his observations of large-angle scattering, showed that a direct collision with a tiny, massive, positively charged nucleus was necessary. The concept of impact parameter became vital here. Only alpha particles with very small impact parameters, i.e., heading almost directly towards the nucleus, would experience significant repulsion and large deflections, an outcome impossible under Thomson's model's uniform charge distribution. A major theoretical flaw was its inability to explain atomic stability. Classical electrodynamics dictates that accelerating electrons, if orbiting, would continuously radiate energy and spiral into the nucleus, causing atomic collapse. Thomson's model, even with embedded electrons, couldn't prevent this classical instability if electrons had any motion. Moreover, it provided no mechanism for the discrete line spectra observed when elements are excited. These distinct spectral lines are fingerprints of elements arising from specific electron energy transitions, a phenomenon entirely foreign to Thomson's classical, continuous energy model. This fundamental disconnect between observation and classical theory was a powerful driver for quantum mechanics. The failure of Thomson's model is a textbook example of scientific progress through falsification. It demonstrated that even a model proposed by a Nobel laureate, based on sound reasoning at the time, must be abandoned when confronted with compelling experimental evidence. This led directly to Rutherford's nuclear model, which in turn exposed new problems like electron stability that paved the way for Bohr's quantized model and eventually quantum mechanics. This chain of scientific inquiry, driven by the limitations of previous models, is a testament to the empirical nature of physics and chemistry, continuously refining our understanding of the universe. Alright, top minds, here are the first 5 questions for the hardest level. These require deep analysis, connecting concepts across different areas of physics and chemistry. Think about the fundamental assumptions, the quantitative aspects, and the theoretical implications of Thomson's model's limitations. Don't just recall facts, analyze the why and how behind its shortcomings. Good luck! And here are the remaining 5 questions to truly challenge your understanding. Consider the broader scientific impact, the conceptual shifts, and even hypothetical scenarios. How did these limitations shape the future of atomic theory and even modern technology? These questions are designed to push your critical thinking to its limits. Take your time, think deeply, and articulate your answers comprehensively. That wraps up our detailed exploration of Thomson's plum pudding model and its limitations. We've journeyed from basic concepts to advanced scientific analysis. To continue your learning adventure and explore more such topics, visit synapse.omaps.in. You'll find a wealth of educational content tailored for all levels. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more exciting lessons. Keep learning, keep exploring.